Good morning, everybody. I almost said, and we're back. Yes, we are. We're back. And it's Wednesday, and Wednesday. It's not Wednesday. It's Thursday. Man, Lauren, I just, I thought last night.
Fly by.
Lauren Swonke is with me today. She is the publisher of 1097, and I had her on just recently, and she's come back. She's back.
Yay.
She said, I think you're weird enough that I want to do a show. I want to do a story on your show and have it in the paper because, maybe the fact that she came back, I mean, that's a real testament, and that really gives me, credibility. I appreciate that.
Hey, sure.
Because someone like you, everybody that knows you goes like, well, if she'll go back on that show, maybe I'll go on that show.
That's sweet, Cindy. Thank you.
That'll be good.
I enjoyed it.
I'm telling you, now, everybody, it's so exciting to see and to witness the punching, the jabbing, the jumping on people, wrestling, and the hatred in the eyes of the two people when they come together and fight, and what they say to each other, spewing of hate speech. I just, y'all think I'm talking about the presidential debate? No, I'm talking about the new Superman, Batman. It starts tonight.
All right.
And so my son has the ticket for it. He's ready to go. And what he's going to do is he's going to go and see it and see if that PG-13 is for sex, violence, or whatever. And so that whether I can take my grandson to go see it. So he's going to filter. It's just so funny. He just wants to go see this. He wants to be by himself and nobody distract him or say, I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy, come on. And so he has a 4-year-old, so he doesn't know if that 4-year-old, almost 4 years old, will be able to go see it. And he wants to, because he lives, breathes, eats, and wears Batman and Superman. So
he's going to be disappointed.
No. That's only the critics that are saying that, Richard. It's only the critics.
Zack Snyder directed it. Oh, what is that?
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. Did I hear that?
Yeah,
I did.
Is that I thought it was a short one.
That's the signal that it sucks.
It's bad.
No.
I mean, Zack Snyder sucks.
Well, now when Richard uses that word, he uses it in the most kind way.
It vacuums.
Yeah, he doesn't mean that in any kind of vulgar way at all. But I think that, Richard, this, you're going to be on the front seat, I think, on this one. Because all the people that have seen it, they like it. So I don't understand why the critics are being so harsh about it. So it doesn't make sense to me. So.
Well, see, Zack Snyder has a history with his filmmaking where he takes way too many liberties when he's trying to copy something. Mm-hmm. So I have a feeling this guy's going to make his own Batman, but it has nothing to do with Batman, if that makes sense.
Well, I feel like the whole premise, this isn't a spoiler alert, this is just an observation, that it's going to be these guys get into it, and they start the big fight, and then this, amazing galactic fight that's going on, and they're all into fighting and trying to see who's the best, and down on Earth, some evil has penetrated places and is growing, and this cancer is growing, and the evil is starting to take over. And wait a minute, they've got to suspend the fight, come together, and overcome the evil. That's what I think is going to happen. That's just, and if I'm right, then I get a trophy.
Yes.
Some kind of award.
I don't like the idea of the good guys fighting against each other.
No, I thought that was a terrible idea.
I don't like that. I saw in the same previews, we saw that preview, and then also one for, I think it's Iron Man and Captain America.
Yes, yeah.
I don't like that.
I think what happens is when it comes to the comic books have been around for so long, and these writers, just like any soap opera, we got to come up with something different, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's,
I don't know.
Well, Civil War is pretty cool.
Is it?
Because the idea in the comic is that the United States government and the world kind of agrees that superheroes should be locked up. And if they're bad, or they should be tagged. Basically, they should be tagged and bagged. And,
wow.
Not saying they get be murdered or anything. It's more of like, I need to know if you're a mutant or not. And if
profiling.
And of course, Captain America is Mr. Freedom.
Yeah.
And he disagrees.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, that's not what should happen.
Yeah.
But doesn't he have a brother, or doesn't he have some relative or something that he's having to side with? against.
Well, that's the deal. Is
Iron
Man, Tony Stark agrees that these superheroes are kind of like, hey, we kind of overstep our bounds a lot. We need to be in check. And the first case of it is the guy, I forget what they call him. He's the Winter Soldier. That's like the comic book name for him, but he's a buddy of. His name's Bucky, actually. He's a
Bucky,
buddy.
That's right.
He was in the first movie with Captain America. He was his buddy from like before we became Captain America.
Okay, they're not brothers
and
or buddies.
Basically, scientists got a hold of him. And scientists are just bad people.
Yeah,
in
my
books.
goodness.
But the idea is he did so many bad things. The government wanted him because he was such a bad guy. But he reformed. He was brainwashed and all that stuff. Well, they didn't care. They want to put him in jail. They want to get this guy. And Captain America's like, he didn't do anything wrong. He was brainwashed, and he helped save the world. Because he realized what he was doing, so he helped save the world at the end of the second.
Note to self: don't get Richard started on Marvel Comics, or he knows everything about these things.
But no, and that's what the Civil War's about. Is Tony Stark's like, hey, we need to be in check, and Mr. Freedom's like, no, they can't. That's like, violating our rights as people. And
right.
We're
it's
people
kind of
too.
A conversation in the whole country now.
Yeah, no, well, it kind of...
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that episode came around the McCarthy era.
Okay.
Because people were being tagged, and it was, Mr. Freedom represents what freedom is.
Interesting.
And so his values are higher than American values because he thinks freedom's more important.
There you go.
I have a hard transition alert. You remember the story just recently about the girl they've been looking for, this kidnapped girl for a long time. The dad they found dead, and then they couldn't find the girl. She was found, and she was dead as well. And just now, with maybe the last hour, SWAT teams were in Magnolia and have got the guy who did it. They've caught him. So
that's good.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. That was
that.
horrible
because
so
sad.
When you don't know where, if your child gets lost for just a few minutes, that feeling that you go through, and then for her to be gone that long, and the longer she's gone, you feel like something probably happened, and you hate to even think like that, but it did. The worst came true, but they've got the guy in Magnolia. That's right down the street.
It is, yeah.
Yay. So anyway, and it was a SWAT standoff, and but the good guys prevailed.
Yeah,
it's
that's
okay.
good. Yeah,
and
that's
in
good
real
news.
life, and that's real life. Listen, guys, I've got to tell you why Lauren is here. This is going to be probably different than she's ever done before. She goes around and interviews all these very famous, very interesting characters and all. And she said, you know what? I don't have anybody this month, so let's call Cindy. She was real sweet. She called and said she wants to do an interview. She wants to do an April edition of the 1097 and have the story and about the show, the Cindy Cochran Show. And so how exciting is that? So I thought I would just let my listeners in on this because, a lot of times they have no idea where I came from.
Right.
A lot of these people go like, who are you? And what makes you think you could talk about that? What's, and I try and tell them, I said, look, I'm an observer like you are of the stage of life. And I'm just, letting you know how I think about it. And if you agree, cool. If you don't, that's certainly up to you.
Right.
And you can call in and tell me about it. So Lauren's going to do an interview with me, just like she does with anybody that she, in Willis up to wherever she goes to find the story. But it's going to be a newspaper article in April in the 1097 paper. Boy, there is something that keeps going through my head. Is that going through your head?
Yeah, I'll check it out when we
Okay.
go to break.
Okay. I just didn't know if I was so electrifying that that's what was happening. I just didn't know. But
it's in preparation for our interview.
that's exactly right.
Yes.
I'm now ready. So your first question would be what? And we're getting ready to go to break in just a couple of minutes. But what would be your first question to me as you sit down and go like, okay, here we go.
Well, usually whenever I sit down and chat with somebody, I want to get to know them personally first. And so my first question would be, hey, Cindy, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, and would
It's
you like
very
that starting
broad.
from? Would you like that starting from night? As old as I am, that's
From
going to be a
birth.
long story. How long is this article?
No, I know you're a Willis girl,
Yes.
and so kind of what brought you to the area? Are you originally from here?
No, I was born and raised in Houston, and I was born in St. Joseph Hospital, which was like every baby boomer in forever, all over, was a resident of the St. Joseph Hospital. And I went to school in Houston. I went to Milby, and a lot of people that will love that that I said that. Milby, and was an East End girl. Fine. Raised on the East End, and didn't bother me a bit or affect me at all. People said, "You came from the East End. Ooh, you must be a tough girl." What?
Scrapper?
No, yeah,
no,
no. But anyway, it was a great place, great time to grow up, and it was wonderful. I loved it, and that era of the 50s and the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. Wow.
Your whole life.
That's right.
It was a good era.
That was a good era. But I've got a second question coming up from her. I just know it. I know it. So you guys stay right there. We're going to be right back, and she's going to delve into the depths of the Cindy Cochran Show. Yes, I can't wait. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The Cindy Cochran Show, the first daily talk show serving Montgomery County.
I'm Lieutenant Bob Berry with the Conroe Police Department, reminding you that drinking and driving do not mix. Drinking and driving causes an alcohol-related fatality every hour in the United States. Stay sober and stay alive.
Hi folks, it's your old buddy Luke Clayton, and I want to invite you to join me every Saturday morning right here on Lone Star Internet Radio from 8 to 9 for Outdoors with Luke Clayton and Friends. Bill Dance is a frequent guest. Larry Weissman, Mr. Whitetail, is on the show every week. We talk a lot of hunting and fishing and generally have a good time. So remember, every Saturday morning, 8 to 9, right here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
The Conroe YMCA's benchmark adaptive programming for kids and adults is Leap of Faith. Leap of Faith is an equine-assisted therapy program serving children and adults with adaptive needs. The riders in our Leap of Faith program are working to address and manage specific aspects of their lives impacted by illness, injury, or disability. The Leap of Faith program has experience working with riders who are living with attention deficit or other hyperactivity disorders, hearing impairments, visual impairments, developmental delays or disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, head traumas, brain injuries, and paralysis. Our program uses horseback riding to develop self-confidence and self-esteem, to increase upper and lower body strength, assist in respiratory issues, and establish a trusting relationship between the rider and their horse. Not only do these activities aid in the physical and mental development of the rider, but they also foster self-reliance and independence. For more information regarding our program, to become a rider, or to volunteer with a great group of people, please call our Welcome Center at 936-441-9622 or visit our website at www.ymcahouston.org/Conroe.
In a world where everyone with a smartphone is a photographer, unique images still stand out in local newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. Writer and photographer Brad Meyer has gained a reputation for innovation and quality, specializing in an editorial approach to portraits and event photography. For information, visit bkmeyer.com or call 281-221-4812.
Tune in to Chamber Chat with your host, Courtney Galley and Samantha Good, with the Conroe Lake Conroe Chamber of Commerce, every first Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. I'm one of your hosts, Courtney Galley. Samantha and I will chat about the Conroe Chamber's upcoming events and programs for the month. Relax with a cup of joe or your favorite drink for Chamber Chat.
The Cindy Cochran Show. You ain't heard nothing yet.
And that was the Cindy Cochran Show. You ain't heard nothing yet from Dennis O'Connor, who helps me with all my liners. Hey,
That's fun.
He is. He's so much fun. we were just talking about Lauren Swonke is a journalist, and she's not a lazy one, because when she goes to do an interview with someone, she takes her pen and paper to do it, not a recording device, and then go back and check her facts. But this is better, because I have
no
had
fact checking.
I had a please no fact checking. I had a Chronicle reporter come and talk to me, and they had the recording and everything there,
Right.
and my husband's name is Sam, and I talked about Sam a lot, and she said Cindy's husband Bob, and I'm like, what? And so she said some other things like, I thought it was all recorded. But one thing good though, Lauren, is that this will be archived, and so if you do
That
need to
is
go
so
back and
helpful.
check something, it'll be right there at your
I love
fingertips
that.
on
Yes.
on IR Lone Star Community Radio. Okay, so she'd ask me, "Who are you?"
Can I ask her something real quick?
Oh, there.
Since we're talking about journalism.
Okay.
So, say her and I are talking,
Right.
and you're just sitting there. Can you take our conversation and make it part of the article to the point where it's as if you're interviewing her?
Yes, like include your comments as well in the article, or your questions.
Yeah, well, it's like, for example, I was this happened at school where I was giving a presentation, and I was talking to the board about stuff, and the way they wrote it in the paper was like I was talking to the interviewer.
Oh, right. Yes. Interesting.
Oh.
And so I was like, man, it sounds like I'm being mean to somebody, like I'm being mean to the guy interviewing me, but like I never spoke to him.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And like they say, like Richard Schistler said this and this and this.
Well, then he
Yeah.
just covered it. He didn't.
Right, just covering.
But the way he
didn't
wrote the
interview
article
you.
was like I was talking to him. Like this is what he said.
No, that's kind of
And
weird.
I was
I
like,
wouldn't do
man,
that.
that's.
I think you should go back and sue him. I just do it. Just do
Well, they
it.
didn't give
Statute
the
of limitations.
I brought it up because he didn't give the context I was speaking to,
Right.
in a formality to a board, and it was just like, oh yeah, he was also there, and he said this.
Well, then here's the
And-
thing that I would make sure that you take out of it. Any of the things that when he does something that puts me down or in any way discredits me, if you could just remove that from our
Pull that out.
conversation.
I can do that.
Okay, I like her
I can
editing
totally
style.
do that.
I like that. But Lauren did ask me. She said, "Who are you, and where'd you come from, and what are you doing here?"
Pretty much.
Yeah, but I did grow up in Houston, and that was a big influence on my life.
Right.
But I would go to church every Sunday and Wednesday, and one day the preacher's wife got up and started interpreting the sermon for a deaf couple who had been coming there, and they were just sitting because they knew they should be in church.
Sweet.
But they found out that they were deaf, and she said, I know sign language, so she got up and started that.
That's great.
I was just mesmerized because I loved, the Helen Keller story and all that. I learned the alphabet in school, and I couldn't believe it. I saw this and saw the songs, the gospel, spiritual songs being done in sign language. It was beautiful, and I got to do this. And so I started going to her classes, and then the deaf couple that was there allowed me to come over to their house, and I would go over there like every day. And they had a little girl the same age as my daughter, and they would play, and I learned about their culture and their family life, how you function as being hearing impaired. And they call themselves deaf. When they started being called hearing impaired, they go like, why do they want to say hearing impaired? I can't hear anything. I'm not impaired. I can't hear.
Right.
So if I say deaf, I'm not at all disparaging to the deaf culture, but that's the way I was, kind of used to doing, saying someone was deaf. But these people were wonderful. I became such good friends with them, and they taught me the street language as well. I had been learning everything to sign in a sermon, and that's what I wanted to do. But they said, you're going to need to learn street language as well. And they had a sign for everything, every word that we've spoken, good or evil. They have the signs for it. And she said, I just want you to know to make sure you don't hold up the wrong fingers, because in a sermon one time, you said something, and I can't even say it over the air because I couldn't say it in mixed company. But she said, don't ever put these two fingers and this finger together, because what you said was that I was just mortified. She says, well, my husband and I are the only ones that knew. We were the only ones in the audience at that time. So it was okay. So I realized that you got to be careful, what you do. So I I loved it. I just loved everything about sign language, their culture, and I would go to the different. I went to a softball game, and it was the weirdest game I'd ever been to. I was the only one that was hearing there, and so nobody, people would hit the ball. I would be like, and they take their hands and shake them up in the air, and that's clapping for them. Cool. That's the way they applaud. And so it was really strange. But I learned all that, and the best thing I learned one time, because I would feel so bad for them that they're not able to hear things. I would just feel awful about this. And the mother came up and asked me, this little girl that was the same age as my little girl, she said, "Cindy, could you please tell me how Susie sounds?" And I went, and it just caught me. I was like, I don't know how she sounds, but I know that it would be sweet. It would be a really sweet sound. And I went, "You're exactly right. That's what you would be hearing. She has a really soft, gentle, sweet voice, so sweet. And when she says mama, she says that's what's coming behind that." But to describe your, someone's daughter,
the things that we take for granted
every day, just to hear that sound of her voice. Yeah. And so she just wondered about it. It was just a curiosity. She said, "Well, I'm just curious about it." And I said, "Listen, if you could have an operation that would give you hearing, and if that comes along in the future, would you do that?" Now, I would think that immediately they said, "Of course, yes." She said, "Oh, no. No." And I said, "What?" I said, "Why wouldn't you want to hear?" She said, "Because I'm saving that for the voice of Jesus." I lost it. I said, "How sweet is that?" She said, "Yeah, I want that to be the first voice I hear."
My goodness.
And I said, she said, "It's funny you hearing people really do get caught up in feeling sorry for us. But I mean, you've never been to the moon, right?" And I said, "No, I haven't." I said, "Well, I don't feel sorry for you that you've never experienced that. You don't feel sorry for yourself, do you?" And I went, "No." And she said, "Well, we don't feel sorry for ourselves. We hate it that people feel bad for us." And she said, "So if we could correct that." Well, I had her family in the series I did for PBS, and we did a local one, and then that was taken nationally. And so she told me, she said, "Cindy, I want to tell you something. My kids," she had a boy and a girl, she said, "we're always embarrassed about their parents, so that we can't hear, and then we have to sign, and we sound the way we do." And she said, and they would never bring their friends over. But since Signing with Cindy has come out, they started bringing their friends over. They're really proud, and they said that they're in his show, and the kids are watching the show, and so they're like little stars at their school. And I just want to thank you for making them proud of us again. I went,
That's so good.
Oh man! So it was worth everything we went through to do that series.
And when was that,
And
Cindy?
that series, we started that the national series started in 1980.
Okay.
In 71, I did one series of Signing with Cindy, and then we did another one to take it regional. And then I got a call and said, "We want to take Signing with Cindy national, and we need you to come in." So I was like, yes, it was so exciting. And never in my wildest dreams when we did this did I think putting that out nationally and teaching sign language. And I used very popular songs that were popular at the time on Top 40, and we signed those songs, and we did like a music video of the songs. And this was right before MTV started and hit the air. So we were so excited. We kept saying, we got the first, music videos out, and before MTV did. But the sign language and all caught a lot of people's imagination. They liked it. And we started getting, the fan mail and all that stuff that goes with it. That, I'd been on Channel 13 interpreting the news for the deaf. I started that in 71. And I interpreted the news to 1980 and then went over to PBS. But and we did it in the morning during Dialing for Dollars, and then I went Good Morning Houston. So I had that kind of exposure and credibility built up so that I could do this series. But once the series went national, some friends of mine started calling me and saying, "Cindy, did you hear the Johnny Carson show last night?" And I went, What happened? What happened? They talked about your show. He asked.
That's awesome.
Somebody on his show said that they wanted to for their they were going to do a hiatus, and they wanted to learn sign language during that time. And he said, well, if you watch on Saturday morning, I watch every Saturday morning, Signing with Cindy. I love the show. And
that's amazing.
And learning. So people started calling me and saying, like, he talked about your show.
How cool.
So I had a book that went along with the show, Signing with Cindy, that people could go through. There's about 300 different signs. And so I wrote on there, I was going to send it to him because one of the guys that worked on Signing with Cindy was one of his that was an assistant of Carson's, and so I wrote, "Dear Johnny Carson, thank you so much for mentioning the show." It took me like 4 books that I wrote because I was so nervous about writing it. I'm like, I just got to look right and sound right and spell everything right.
Right.
And so we sent the book to him, and one night I got a call. It was late at night, and I got a call and said, "This is so-and-so from, I'm the talent coordinator on the Tonight Show, and Mr. Carson would like to have you on the show next week at this time. And, personally, we don't think this is a great idea because how can he talk to you about sign language and all that? But he loves your show. So if you wouldn't mind." So it's kind of like a slap in the face. Yeah, exactly. So I went, "Well, that would be great. I would love to." And they said, "Okay, we're going to have someone be contacting you and tell you what to wear, what not to ask him, what not to say, and we need you to write out all of your questions that you would like him to ask you, so that we make sure we cover everything you want. And be aware that Johnny likes to throw things at people just to see if they can catch him off guard. He likes that. He's just funny that way. So be aware there'll be other questions, but it won't be anything that you're expecting be asked." And I went, "No problem. That's great." So I hung up, and my kids were watching TV, and I went, "I'm going to be on the Johnny Carson show. I'm going to be on the show." And they said, "Mom, we can't hear the TV. Be quiet." And my husband was out of town, and he was coming in late, so I waited for him to come in. He came in, and I went, "I'm going to be on the Johnny Carson. I'm going to be on the Johnny." He said,
cool.
"Well, are they paying for the flight out there?" It's like nobody was like taking this like I thought they would.
Help me out, people.
So I went down to the 7-Eleven and I went and got something, and I walked up to the guy and I tried to work it into the conversation just to see how he reacted. So they were some bubble gum or something. He goes, "Thank you. How are you doing tonight?" And I said, "Great. I was just asked to be on the Johnny Carson show." And he goes, "Okay, that would be 50 cents." And so
somebody celebrate with this woman.
I had to wait till somebody woke up in the next day and start calling, my mom and family members. And it was an amazing thing because that show had such power, such power. So they pay for your way out there, and they put you up in the Shamrock Hilton there, and they have a driver for you. And when I got to the airport, there was a guy standing there with the names. It was just
How fun.
And so I made him pull the window down. I said, "Pull the window down because I got to talk to you." So anyway, it was great. It was so much fun. And he was so great, all the people. And after I finished my interview, he said at the end, "How would you like to come back again? I want you to come back. Will you come back?" And everybody in the audience went crazy because so many of my relatives had come to California to see this event.
Great.
And I just thought to myself that people sitting at home watching this and hearing this loud, thunderous, going like, "Ethel, should we know this lady? Because it seems like everybody else knows her." So, but it was there's a lot of power in that. So I was able to do a lot of things and bring awareness and all, and be able to go to the police station and the fire station and say, "We need to have TTYs installed here for emergencies for the deaf people, because right now they have to go find somebody that's hearing and has a phone and could call you guys." And they go
serious.
"Well, we didn't know." So they installed TTYs so that they could type back and forth to each other.
That's right.
And this was back in the 70s. So
very good.
Before we had texting. So it was just amazing. And so many things happened from that and were enabled me to be able to reach out and to talk to people and make it and make that awareness happen. So from there, a lot of things developed, and I was on Channel 13 for about 10 years, and then when I went to PBS, I stayed there and did the series and all, and then from there I went to Warner Cable. and I started with Time Warner and did production, because I saw that, I don't care how great and wonderful you think you are, you're not going to last a lot of time in front of the camera. So I wanted to build, some experience. I have all this at my hand that I can learn from, how to direct, how to edit, how to shoot, and all that stuff that I wanted to do. I love the technical side of television, and so after getting involved in that, then I was able to secure a job there at Time Warner and be able to help with the production, and I was over the production part of that, and
That's awesome.
And that was the beginning of cable. So I love getting in on the beginning of cable, because it was a brand new world, and a lot of people were saying to me, "Cindy, you're going to cable after you've been on commercial TV. No, why would you go to cable? They're nothing. It's a passing fad." And a few years later, they were asking me, "Can I come shoot on your production?"
Sure.
So it was great, and that's what I thought about when I came to Lone Star, that the internet radio was the next thing that was going to happen. I always wanted to be on radio from the very beginning. That was my goal, was to be on radio, and so I'm going to get more into that and how I got here. With your next question, Lauren.
Awesome.
And she's writing feverishly. She is so good. Listen, guys, we're talking to Cindy Cochran today. Lauren Swonke is interviewing me and for an article for the 1097 paper. So anyway, come back, learn more. It's a great place to be. The Cindy Cochran Show.
The Cindy Cochran Show. Real reality radio.
Tune in every Sunday night right here on Lone Star Internet Radio for adventure, romance, thrills, chills, and everything vintage radio drama can bring. The Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour comes to you every Sunday at 7 p.m. with brand new episodes monthly. Our productions always feature actors, music, and sound effects performed completely live. And now you can enjoy seeing each new episode performed on stage at the Owen Theater in Conroe. Check out www.irlonestar.com for information about upcoming episodes. Relive the glory days of vintage radio drama right here with the Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour on Lone Star Internet Radio.
In a world where everyone with a smartphone is a photographer, unique images still stand out in local newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. Writer and photographer Brad Meyer has gained a reputation for innovation and quality, specializing in an editorial approach to portraits and event photography. For information, visit bkmeyer.com or call 281-221-4812.
SPCA PetSnap of Montgomery County is a 501c3 all-volunteer-based rescue and adoption organization with a no-kill policy for healthy and adoptable animals. Our goals are fourfold: to rescue and rehabilitate homeless animals, to provide a safe haven for the animals until a suitable adoption or foster care home is found or until they are reunited with their owner, to educate the public about the great need to reduce pet population, which includes the importance of having their pets spayed and neutered, and to further the cause for humane and responsible pet ownership, and to provide a low-cost spay-neuter clinic for people who are unable to afford to spay or neuter their pets otherwise. SPCA PetSnap of Montgomery County encourages you to think adoption first. You can contact us at www.spcaofmc.com.
The Cindy Cochran Show, the first daily talk show serving Montgomery County.
And we're back on the Cindy Cochran Show, and it's a little different show. We have Lauren Swonke with us today, and she's the publisher of 1097 paper in Willis, where I live. And so she's done me the honor. You done me the honor, girl, of wanting me to be on the April edition of 1097, and I get to do a story, and you're getting to hear the actual interview, and we'll see how close she
sticks to the interview. And that makes me nervous.
And poor thing that you have to edit all of this. That's the hardest thing, is because
it's all good.
When I interview people like on video, and I just let them talk because I want them to get everything out. But then we're going back and interviewing is a whole different story. So, but she asked what was your next question?
I was wondering about how you transitioned into radio. Now, being in cable TV, having been signing for the deaf, that's a pretty big transition.
It is, but and it was interesting being on the cutting edge of cable coming around was fun. And then I saw that the FM radio station. This is so cool because you do have more control about what you want to listen to and all. And then for Lone Star, I happen to know someone who was involved with Lone Star and found out about it, and they asked would I like to do a show, and I went, yes, of course. And I've always wanted to be on radio. In fact, the way I got on television, though, was through a radio personality. I went to him and I said, listen, I've got a question to ask you. This is a big favor. I want to do the news for the deaf. And he sat there and just stared at me, and he goes, Cindy, this is radio, right? I mean, you understand radio and TV?
Work so
That's
well.
Not going to work. I said, no, not on this station. I want to do this on television. But he said, well, okay, that makes more sense. And so he was able to give me some names of people. And so you had to just work your way through the system and get it. And then I found out that the FCC, every 7 years, relicense these stations, and they need so much public service. And so if you pick the right time to go in and ask them something that is public service, it works out really well for you. But wanting to be on radio was just ever since I was a kid. That's what I wanted to do, was be on radio. And I thought maybe if I got on television, maybe then I could get on radio. And everybody on radio said, no, Cindy, it's the opposite. We're trying to get on television, and you're on there already. This is stupid. But when I got to do Lone Star, it was really exciting. Hey, you know what? I've never seen this before. We got a phone call right in the middle of our interview. So let's see what this person has to add. This ought to be interesting. Hello, caller. What is your name?
My name's Chris Rossetti.
Oh, Chris. Hey. Hi, Chris. Thank you for calling. We love Chris Rossetti from San Francisco.
That's too cool.
See, that's what I like about internet radio, is that anybody can listen to you anywhere in the world. I love that. Chris, what is your question, my dear?
I was just wondering if you've seen my car keys. I can't find them.
All those talents, that's one of them I don't have. I'm just so sorry.
Actually, I do have a question for your interviewer to ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like you to please ask Cindy if she could interview anyone at all from all of history. Who would it be, and what would she ask?
Good question.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
So, Cindy, that's the question. If you could interview anyone at all through history, who would it be?
Now, Chris, the answer to that, I have to say, would be Jesus, because I would have so many questions, and that I'd love to get the scoop on it. Now, you think, wait a minute, that's all written out in the Bible, but I want to ask about the lost 18 years. I want to know what happened in that time. That would be the question I'd want to know. And if he gave me the answer to that, then my book would be forthcoming.
Awesome. I tell you what, there's so much out right now as far as I just picked up the book Killing Jesus by Bill O'Reilly.
Yes.
And I'm very interested to get into that. I know it's, from what I can tell, he tries to stay pretty true to history.
Right.
And so I'm interested in picking that and getting into that book for sure. But man, to interview him, wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be so amazing. Do you agree, Chris, or what do you think?
We'll have to see.
Chris has to agree.
Yes.
Right, Chris? You agree, right?
I would imagine that he
Chris,
does.
Did you?
He always says he's going to hang up to hear the answer.
You know what? And I probably talked over him when he said that. Chris, okay, I hope that answer satisfied you. I'm so glad you called me. I would love to interview Chris Rossetti, but he calls and he says these sweet things. Or
I really
Or where's his
appreciate
keys?
that. When I told my husband whenever I was on before that we had a caller from California, he was like, "That is so cool.
It was.
That
It
is
is.
just so fun."
And he's just he's great, and so I would love to
devoted
interview
listener.
him. Yeah, because he has such a
Yeah.
great story to tell. So
Very cool. Well, Cindy,
someday,
tell me
Chris.
about your program. Now we've talked about your kind of
Right.
leading up to this point.
Right.
How would you describe your program? Tell me
That's the
about
hardest
it.
question I've ever had. No, this program is a variety of different subjects, and you never know what's coming up next. And Richard may chime in and say, Cindy, you never know what's coming up. No, it is things that happen. I go home, I listen to all the cable news, all the outlets, and see what's going on. Then I listen to ABC's like Kelly and Michael, and and I listen to Michael Berry on the radio. There's so many things going on that happen all at one time. I like to listen to all of them and then see what I'm interested in. And it's my show, so it's whatever I'm interested in. I just hope you are, and that's all I can say. And so
a little bit of a variety show. So you're the
Yes.
Johnny Carson of Montgomery County.
Exactly right. I come out and I do my opening monologue, and then I go from there.
How fun.
And what I like most of all is the premise of Lone Star Community Radio is that we're serving this area here, and we serve them with ways that they can help and serve their own community, like the Chop House and different places, and Caden's Hope, and things that people can get involved in. That's what I love as well, is that to give a voice to a lot of people that don't have a budget for advertising, or to get the word out.
I love
that. And that's what Richard Schishler is helping and allowing us to do. So.
Yeah.
It is I want it to be fun, and my biggest compliment is when the guest says, "Boy, that went by fast. I had a good time. That was easy. You made it easy. I wasn't as nervous." That I know. Then I think that's you're
doing it right.
It's been right.
Yeah.
So.
Very cool. Well, tell me, I guess, what do you like most about doing this show? It's a daily show, so it's a daily commitment.
Right.
What do you enjoy about it?
Hearing my own voice. No, it's just being able to vent about things that I listen to. People they hit the radio, or they kick the TV, or they get so upset and so angry, and they don't have a place to vent. And I get to do that. I was at Joe's Pizzeria, and these guys were sitting behind me in a booth, and they were just lashing out about the politics and all the things, and I was just loving it.
I bet you were.
I put my comic books down, and I said, okay, I'm going to listen to these guys. And when I stood up to leave, I said, thank you so much. Y'all were so great in your conversation about politics and stuff. And they kind of looked at me weird, but I said, it thrills me that people are so passionate about what's going on, and you guys hit all the nails on the head. And in fact, if I could have you on my show, and I get to tell them about the show and work that in, and say I would love to have you as guest. And they found someone, one of the guy's father is like hilarious, and he's so dogmatic, and he just would love to talk about with anybody about this. And so I said he would come from Houston down to Conroe. He says, oh yeah, he would love that. So it's so much fun because you get to meet people when they say, you say, I'd love to have you on my show on the radio. They feel a little better, like, yeah, I'm really something. Sure. And it's not just because it's on my show. It's because of radio. They've never been on radio before, so they get really excited about it.
Yeah.
And I love doing that. That's a lot of fun. And I'm hoping in the future I want to have kids on that have talents that would play well over the radio.
Oh, cool.
And
Cindy's Got Talent.
Cindy's Got Talent.
Yes.
Thank you. No, Cindy's Got Talent. This show.
Cindy's talented guest.
Yes, that's right. My talented guest. Because kids are so much fun. I love to interview kids and talk to kids. And so I would love to have, and the stage mothers walk in with them and say,
Aww.
Come on, you can do it. You can do it, Ralphie. Do that.
Yeah.
But we talk about everything, and different age groups and all, and we love the movies. We love what's going around in the theatrical district here.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
And so so many interesting people like Dennis O'Connor, like Craig Campabella that's over there. We just have it's full of talent around here, and Lauren Swonke. So we just, boy, is that buttering up the person's interview?
I'm telling you.
You gotta say good things
say all
about
kinds
them.
of good things.
Listen, we'll be right back. We've got a break we got to go to, and I will just have to ask Lauren some questions when we get back. I think she's got enough from me. Don't you? Okay. Thank you guys very much. You're listening to The Cindy Cochran Show. We'll be right back.
The Cindy Cochran Show. You ain't heard nothing yet.
The East Texas Dream Center is in need of your help. We are a nonprofit Christian organization that houses women and children who are trying to get their lives back after being homeless, abused, or addicted. We are conveniently located at 301 South 1st Street, Conroe, Texas, 77301, right here in Montgomery County. Our needs are financial and every needs of gasoline, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, Lysol, and whatever else God puts in your heart. To help our ladies and children, please consider a donation. You may visit our website at www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Again, so you don't forget, it's www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Donations are tax deductible. Remember what Jesus said, with God, nothing is impossible.
Hello, I'm Bonita DeRosa, Animal Control Officer for the City of Willis. We invite you to tune in to Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. for the Willis Hour. On the first Thursday of the month, the Willis Hour will be covering upcoming events and news about the city. Join in the conversation with your city officials and other leaders in the community. On the third, we will be doing a recap of the last City Council meeting. The mission of the City of Willis is to provide high-quality services, accountability, and professional commitment to our citizens. We pledge to provide those who live, work, and visit our city an effective government that is open and responsive to the needs and values of the community. Again, we invite you to tune in on Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 for the Willis Hour.
In a world where everyone with a smartphone is a photographer, unique images still stand out in local newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. Writer and photographer Brad Meyer has gained a reputation for innovation and quality, specializing in an editorial approach to portraits and event photography. For information, visit bkmeyer.com or call 281-221-4812.
At Jazzy Junk, volunteers reclaim, restore, and recycle. Jazzy Junk is a non-profit resale storefront where you will discover wonderful, unique finds at very affordable prices on furniture, antiques, books, art, home decor, and more. When you shop Jazzy Junk, you support New Danville, a community for adults with developmental disabilities. We receive new donations daily, so plan a visit to Jazzy Junk today to find that perfect item or gift. Our motto is here today, gone today, so remember to hurry in and shop often for the best selection. Jazzy Junk is located in the outlets at Conroe on League Line Road and I-45 North. Call 936-441-4500 or visit our website, jazzyjunk.org, that's Junque, for more information and store hours.
The Cindy Cochran Show, the most opinionated talk show on radio.
Boy, is that the truth. It is. It's my opinion, and everybody that I have on here has an opinion about something. And you at home have opinions, and I want to hear them. You guys can call anytime on my show. I'll take a call in, and just like we do with Chris, and let you vent if you want to. And you can vent against what you think I'm feeling. And like, Cindy, how can you believe that? It's okay. That's fun. That's fun radio. So
is fun.
I'm hoping that you will definitely call in, and I'm here every morning from 10 to 11, and so it's good to have phone calls because that shuts me up. In fact, I think Chris called one time to ask Richard if he could turn off my mic. I think he actually even asked to turn off the mic. I think that was something like, what? Wait a minute. But we have great listeners, and we have listeners that are prayer warriors too, and I love that about them because you can put on there that somebody is hurting or something's going on, and and lift that up. And I think that's wonderful.
That is wonderful.
The most exciting thing right now, though, Lauren, is that we're getting ready to go FM.
I know.
And I mean, it is just, it's so close right now. And it's going to be 2 different call stations. It'll be 104.5 and 106.1. And so we are so excited about getting all of the KRBE listeners, from the people that
They'll be like,
the dial.
Hey, wait a minute. This isn't what I was looking for.
And so people can actually get in their car and drive around and listen to us.
So
and
cool.
if they drive out of our range, then they have the app they can have on their phone to be able to listen to it on the internet. So it's going to be great. And so many great things will be happening, and I hope everybody stays tuned. And with your publicity, it'll be even better.
Oh,
so
I'm
they'll
telling
know
you.
it's here.
I know. I'm excited about
and
that.
And it's fun. Yeah, this is going to be like I do believe, and I say that on our liners and stuff, that the first daily talk show, and as opinionated as it is, it's okay. But we're going to claim that anyway. We did the Lone Star flag here in Conroe, and now we have the first.
So cool.
The first. I mean, Conroe has a lot of firsts.
It's a big
going
deal.
For it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so do you feel like you've got enough from me, Lauren?
I think so, Cindy. I mean, you have had really a very cool career.
It's been fun. It's been so fun. And to be able to get and just to talk to people. But I know people that come in, they have no idea who Cindy Cochran is. And they go like, who are you? Why do you think you have an opinion about something? I think that's what's fun. Is like, I don't, what school did you go to be able to have opinions? I don't think there is. So I think as a citizen,
no opinion school.
I'm just an American citizen who feels certain ways about things that are going on, but and especially locally, to be able to support things that are going on locally and let people know that, and now we'll be on the big boys. FOs.
Yes, it's so cool.
It's going to be fun.
Very exciting. One of the things that I love about radio and about TV and all, when we're at home, we're like, that is so amazing. Those people are like celebrities and superstars. And I love it because by coming and visiting with you, I mean, you're a very real person. And
Thank you. That's a great compliment.
Well, I hope your listeners gather that, and our readers as we put this story out, and the listeners that will be picking you up on FM, that they'll go, hey, Cindy is my friend. She's right here in Montgomery County.
Amen, brother.
She's a really cool girl.
That's
I see her in Kroger sometimes.
Oh, don't.
Or a lot of times.
Just don't tell people what I look like when I'm in Kroger's.
All right.
They're like, Cindy, you sound different on the radio.
I think we all look like that in Kroger.
That's right. Oh. That's what I like about it. And whoever invented wearing pajamas to the store, I love that. I love them. But Lauren, you are the sweetest personality and so open, and you look like the person that you want to. Let's go to the show. Let's go shopping and all that.
You're
so
sweet. Thank
I've
you.
enjoyed meeting you, and you've got to come back on the show, and we'll, especially when we get to the big time. You got to come on and talk to us about what's going on around the area, because you're the one that would know. You're the one that's in the know.
Well, thank you.
Lauren Swonke is the publisher of 1097, and you find this newspaper everywhere. It's everywhere. It's sitting right next to
all over in Willis.
Yes, all over Willis, and it just keeps drifting because I go like, there's a 1097 paper, and so it's great to be associated with you. Thank you so much for caring about the community enough to make everybody aware of what's going on. So.
Sure. Thank you for having me today. I've enjoyed it.
It's fun. I love you, and I love your son.
Thank you.
He's so sweet, so quiet.
That's so good.
That's so wonderful. That's amazing. Okay, guys, I will be back tomorrow. Denton Florian, amazing historian, is going to be on tomorrow, and he's going to call in, and we're going to talk about this crazy contested convention that might be coming up with the GOP, and find out what are they thinking.
Yeah.
So we'll be back. Don't go away. Thank you so much for listening. Make somebody happy, and you'll be happier.